This is my Jamie's Flea Market 2015 recap. This year I decided to exclude hardware, controllers, um, basically anything except for games themselves, with a couple exceptions. As far as highlights, those three 7800 games: Double Dragon, Fiddle Run, Planet Smashers. Definitely games you don't come across very often. I had to pay more for those than I typically do for games from that era, but I'm glad I found them. Just two Nintendo games this year, which is the Collector's Dilemma. I actually found a lot more Nintendo games this year at resale, um, video game stores, CCHE, just not much at the flea market. Nothing great on Super Nintendo. Animaniacs is alright. Konami, not their best though. Pair of Nintendo 64 games, which are also getting harder to find. Wonder Boy on Master System was an excellent purchase. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I bought that in a lot, but I don't think that I paid more than maybe $10 for it. It's complete. Mega Man Wily Wars is a repro, which normally I don't purchase, but since this one wasn't localized and a Japanese or PAL copy is extremely expensive, I decided to go for it. A couple of loose Genesis titles. Any More from Power Rangers the movie is what seems to be a pretty solid beat 'em up. It's different than the Super Nintendo version, which is excellent. A lot of Saturn stuff this year. All the disc-only games were part of a lot where I found a Saturn console plus all the games for $10, which might have been the best find of the year. Darius Gaiden, probably the best game. None of them are really scratched too bad, which is surprising considering they're disc only. Speaking of Saturn, though, probably the most unusual find, Shining Force 3 Part 2 and 3, the import copies, which I got for $2 a piece out of a box of PC games. So, there are fan translations. You have to have a modded Saturn to be able to patch the Japanese discs and play the fan translation, but from what I've seen online, it looks like a pretty easy mod, so I'm planning on doing that with the Saturn I picked up with all the disc-only games. Nothing really notable on PlayStation. PS2, Grandia 2 for $3, nice find. I think most of the other ones were $1 or $2 a piece. On Xbox, Crazy Taxi 3. Haven't really played it, but I'm interested to see where Sega took the franchise. GameCube. Haven't really given Metabots or Sonic Riders much of a chance. Jazz told me that Mortal Kombat Deception is terrible, but I haven't really played it. I just bought it because it was $2 or something. I did find GameCube GBA player boot up disc loose, which never happens. It's almost always the other way around, where you find the boot up player or the GBA player without the disc. Lots of Wii stuff. Super Mario 2. I haven't played Twilight Princess on the Wii. I have it on GameCube, and I'm planning on playing it through it on GameCube, which means I might never play it on the Wii, but it was cheaper than what it goes for. I decided to pick it up. 2 Dreamcast titles. Test Drive Le Mans was $1. Demolition Racer was $2, I think. The Sega CD has Sherlock Holmes plus 4 Genesis titles. Lots of handheld stuff. Darkwing Duck on Game Boy was a nice find. It was one of the games that my brother had when I was a kid, and I haven't been able to pick it up recently. I think it goes for like $10-15, somewhere in that neighborhood. Pokemon Yellow, Pokemon Crystal. Pokemon Yellow was $5. Crystal, I think I paid $15 for, but both those are good deals. Some interesting titles on Game Boy. Nothing crazy. Star Wars Empire Strikes Back is terrible. Cat Trap is pretty fun. Alleyway I bought because it's in a nicer copy. The one that I had was from when I was a kid, and it's in terrible condition. Game Boy Advance, Phantasy Star. I'm still holding out to play through Phantasy Star 2 and 3 on Genesis. I just haven't picked up copies of it. I also picked up a bootleg of one of the Kirby games on Game Boy Advance, but I decided to not count that since it's definitely a bootleg. Space Invaders Complete was a nice find. That wasn't from a video game reseller. It was just like somebody had moved or cleaned out a house or something. Pokemon Soul Silver Complete for $10. It's got the Pokédex pedometer thing. And it actually had 2 copies of the game, so one complete and another one loose for $10. It's a nice find. Bus Move DS Complete for $1. Lots of Game Gear stuff. Arena Maze of Death seems pretty interesting. Haven't given it much of a chance. Double Dragon port on Game Gear is apparently one of the harder to come by Game Gear titles. Road Rash. And some lousy titles. So overall, I didn't spend quite as much money as I usually do. I guess that looks like maybe 300, 400. I don't know, I should have added up before I started recording. Anyways, some good finds. Leaned towards handheld and Sega this year, but some good stuff for Nintendo, and leaning more modern, especially with like the Wii games and things like that, but you can only buy what's out there. Anyways, that's it.